Now, let me say a word about the speaker that's our last millionaire. Anytime you can get put out of high school and only finish the 9th grade and come out of Bogalusa, Louisiana, walking and get your way to Texas and build the largest black-owned income tax business in the United States of America, in the history of the United States, you ain't nothing but an absolute genius. That's right. An absolute genius. When I find people with genius, I said, now the Lord didn't give me that, but I got enough sense to recognize a genius when I see one. And you see, you can't see in me what ain't already in you. You can only see in me what is in you. So what I saw in Mr. Mayfield was already present in me. What I saw in Jim Clingman was already in me. So I said, I want to go with people who going somewhere. I want to go with people who got some fruit on their tree. See, I can't hang with you if you ain't got no fruit. If you tell me you're an apple tree and I say, show me some apples. If you can't show me no apples, I got to keep on stepping. So see, I got a plum tree, an apple tree. I got some fruit up here. So you want to move where there's fruit. This man knows how to keep the money. If you've been doing taxes, you should be all up in his hip pocket when it comes to taxes. And you should learn how to make some money from the tax business just like he's done it. So the key thing is, here is a multimillionaire who can't say, I didn't have no education, so I ain't made it. No, we took that lie away. He didn't have no degree. He don't have no degree from nowhere, but you won't even know it. He's not flashy. He doesn't drive around in a whole bunch of, he don't have no 57 cars, even though he could buy a 57 if he wanted to. And he doesn't have to even be here today. But this man is driven by a power that drives all of us. He is driven to do something about the condition of the black man and woman in America. Now, it's really something when you can hear black people talk black. But it's really something when you can hear successful, rich black people talk black. That's right. Rich black people talk black. Now, all of us know that the people who got money, they don't talk much about us anymore. When you get a little bit of money, your complexion change. Now, look at his complexion. You see his complexion has not changed. Now, I want you to listen real close, because he's going to take you on a journey. You might well put your seatbelts on right now, because brother going to take you to another level. After he concludes, I want to pick up the questions that you want to ask, or maybe Satina will pick them up. We want to do that. And then the 15 people that want to be part of the mentoring group that I'm going to put together here, the first 15 that get to me with their names and email addresses on it, that's the one that it will take. The first 15 that do that. Okay, I don't want to overpromise too much that I can't deliver on. And the reason I ask those 15 is because two things you got to be if you're going to make some money, be successful. Number one, you got to be teachable. Number two, you got to be coachable. And number three, you got to have the ability to follow somebody. Now, the reason that I'm here is because I can follow Mr. Mayfield. I can follow Jim Cingman. I can follow Mr. Dudley. I'm teachable and I'm coachable. So ladies and gentlemen, let me bring to you right now, out of Beaumont, Texas, the world headquarters for Compro Tax, the reigning undisputed heavyweight champion of the business world. Here he is, Dr. Jackie Mayfield. Give it up. Mayfield, the real deal, the real deal.
We must hurry along. I understand that we don't own this place, so we have a time restraint, and certainly it will, certainly. Certainly giving honor to God, I would like to certainly invite our ancestors come join us. and fill the empty seats that are here. Forgive my voice as well, but I would like to always pay homage to my wife. Bessie, stand up. We've been married for 39 years. She traveled with me, and of course to Tina for doing such a marvelous job of bringing Atlanta together in this place. Of course, my friend Jim Clingman, my friend George Subira, and my friend Mr. Joe Dudley. Not to mention John Raye, the excitable person. Yes, he's always on fire. He always has a saying that if you set yourself on fire, the world will come and watch you burn. So he's a very excitable guy. You may think I'm going to talk about taxes, but I'm going to talk about business in a different sense. Can I talk to my family? See, I come from an extended family. So my mother died at age 33, and it was 9 of us out of Bogalusa, Louisiana. My grandmother died 2 years later. So we are a product of a community raising. And I understand the power in community, which we've lost in the last 40 years. And hopefully I can talk about that and the reason why. See, money is a tool. If you don't understand that money is necessary, not just for your survival, for food, shelter, clothing, but money is a tool to maintain your culture. Because everything around you that grows properly must grow out of culture. And we have been deculturalized in the last 40 years since we have assimilated into the lie of integration. Now, bear with me a little bit. I'm going to go somewhere with this. But I would like to know how many people in here desire to be in business or already in business. Let me see the hands. Good. Now, how many of you desire to be successful in business? Okay, well, that's good. That's good. Now, most people do not go into business to make millions of dollars, because you'll stumble over your feet if your goal is just money. You must be motivated behind a cause that requires money. I want you to understand what I'm saying. If it's just for you, the I, that individual thing, you won't do very well. It must be something bigger than just you. And I'm going to talk to you about the love of self and what it takes to prepare yourself psychologically to be in business as an African American person in America that has gone through and still is in slavery. Well, come on, I want to talk about that. Bring it now, bring it home. But first I want to make mention about the Black Alliance. The Black Alliance is the company of Joe Dudley, Compro Tax, and Mata Network. Now, Mata Network is really the catalyst and the cause behind all of this. And that is, we must redirect our spending from giving it to everybody else to redirecting it to ourselves. And we must understand the power in that. Because if you have an enemy, and everybody do, God set it up with the yin and the yang. You got the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever. You're going to have enemies. Some are obvious, some are not so obvious. Now, just because the man is not whipping you physically now doesn't mean you're not being whipped. So you must understand that there's a whipping going on now, and it's been going on for a long time. How do I know that? Well, I look around, I see most of our children black boys especially, and the girls are coming up fast, or in prison. The new plantation. Most of us tell our children to go to school to get a good job.
Come on, Doc.
And jobs are not being created by you. So how is it that you tell someone to go to school to get a good job and you have no desire to create one? Something is wrong with that mentality. We also begging consistently other people to do for us when we should be doing for ourselves. Now I'm going somewhere with this, so y'all bear with me. Because we are standing in this auditorium, and I look at all of the Egyptian artifacts out of Kemet. You see, the land of the blacks, and all of the greatness that started there, but they learned from another civilization called Kusta, thousands of years before then. We've been ruling this thing a long time, folks. But what has happened to us is we are suffering from an amnesiac state of mind. We do not know who we are, because we are like Lazarus hanging around the rich man table,
Come on, Doc.
begging for crumbs. How shameful God must feel, sending the best of us first along the equator, there along the Nile Valley, building great civilization, ruling the world, setting all of the disciplines we know today. We did it, but we've forgotten. We are now sort of walking around not knowing who we are, asking Bush and Kerry to save our lives. What a pitiful people we are. When there are people come from other lands, settle in your neighborhood, take the money, go out, and you are left in an anemic state economically, and you are begging folk for something we should be doing for ourselves. Now, see, I'm going to talk about a serious matter here, because that's why Mr. Dudley and I and the others on the panel not being paid for what we're doing. We've been in Baltimore, D.C., out in California, in Ohio, in North Carolina, on this tour. Like Bill Cosby is on a tour. He has a passion. He's talking to the children, and I love him to death. I feel his pain, but he doesn't have the solution. Now, I want you to understand what I'm saying. I love Bill Cosby, but he is going to ignite a debate that we need in our communities. But how to fix it must come from us. Because, see, we were fixing things back quite well before we were assimilated into the integration line. We had all kind of successful people, quote unquote, being successful in the black community. The poorest and the richest in the same neighborhood.
Yes, sir.
But when you extract the best of us out of those neighborhoods, never to return, what do you expect when the remnants of your people is left there and the best is gone? Have left the community. Now, one thing in Orange, Texas, you can go to Orange, Texas and go in the projects and ask any child, do you know Mr. Mayfield? And they'll say, yeah, I know Mr. Mayfield, on that tax office down there. But do you see him? Yes, I see him.
Well,
do you talk to him? Yes, I talk to him. Because we are not talking to our children. See, our children make up all of the African American children in this nation. And if they're in pain and you don't hurt, then you are not consciously disturbed enough about your plight to fix it. Now, it requires money. How is it that we send our children to be educated in a system that is antithetical to themselves? They got enough sense to know, and they rebel, and the best of our minds rebel and act up, and they're in prison. Our entrepreneurs, we're not giving them jobs, so they create another job. They sell the wrong stuff, but at least they're trying to sell something. You understand? And we're up here talking about something wrong with those children. There's something wrong with you as the watchman that's supposed to be on the gate that allow the children to get out.
come on
and not be conditioned properly. That's what's wrong with the condition here. And we got to straighten that problem out, or all of the praying you're doing and all of the things you're doing to try to go to heaven, you're not going to make it. Because God sent these children to us to be taken care of and to be watched for and to be prepared for, so they can give back to another generation. We have squandered the inheritance of the backs of other people who got you in to these plantations and these high-rise in Atlanta. And now you look down on the lower group just like a field Negro, looking from the Eiffel Towers or saying something wrong with them. And not understand that folk died to get you there. And don't understand the price that's been paid. And all I'm going to ask of you to do is to buy from yourself. All I'm going to ask for you to do is to be sane like other people. Sell to yourself and buy from yourself. Then take this money and build our schools with it. Educate our own children so they'll grow up loving us and not someone else. You see, we're going to have to do that. We're going to have hospitals to see what's wrong with us, because we are dying faster. Something wrong with somebody being on a kidney dialysis. 80% of them almost is us. And we're only 12.5% of the population. You don't know what they're doing to you because you're not self-determined enough to say, I need these research centers for myself. I need to fund these centers. Now, we can do it. Can we do it? Yes, because you give enough money to build mega churches. Yes, sir. So I want you to tie it to yourself. So I'm spending money back into your community and organize, not just individually, but come together collectively. Yeah. And that is why MATA is necessary. There are over 100 different products manufactured by African-American people that are almost starving to death, who work for other people, refuse to work for other folk, want to do for themselves. We must support leaders like that. Most of our leaders, when they work hard and give of themselves, like Stokely, Kwame Nkrumah, and die a pauper's death. Because we don't support our own. All of our liberators die because we don't support them. How do we support them? We support them by understanding that business is necessary to come together collectively so that we can own our schools, own our hospitals, own our factories, own everything, as James Brown said in this Jim talked about it. We need to do this. This is not new stuff. This has been going on for years, but we seemingly don't get it. Now, you say, now, how in the world a person with a 9th grade education can come out and build a company with the help of others? Very briefly, when you go through being poor, not being able to get a job, because my grandmother saved a lot for me to go to school. Diabetes took it. And God always has purpose for what he does. You know, I was starring in school until I got fed up with what I saw as a young person. And I wanted to be involved in a movement. And being involved in a movement and going to school was sort of a conflict. So I chose to be involved in the movement. And being involved in the movement allowed them to not allow me to get a job from them. Thank God. You see, I was locked out because that is not the direction God wanted me to go. But I'm going to tell you something. God helped people who are in motion. Everything in this universe is in motion. You cannot be sitting down saying, please, somebody help me. You got to get up and move toward that goal, regardless about whoever is helping you. You got to move out. And then angels will come along the way to take you to the direction. But you got to move out first, and you must believe that you're going there. But we kill everything. The conception, like Mr. Dudley said all the time, you got to have a birth control mind. You think of a good idea, and the next moment, you talk yourself out of it. You think of a good idea, you don't talk yourself out of it, your friends do. And your friends don't have no more than you have. And they become an authority in your life. Something wrong with that. You listen to other people to validate you. You go to schools, you get degrees. Nothing wrong with degrees. I believe in real education.
Yes, sir.
But if your education is not doing for you the same thing that it's doing for other white folks, then you are miseducated. You see, it must be something that you've turned in and made and created something for your life. I did a speech once. It was mostly to men. And I said, and this is for men right now, I'm not going to go into the speech, but it went like this. The title was, what other woman, and I'm sorry, what other man do you need to take care of your woman? Now, just sort of sink that in, sink it a little bit. Because you go to work, right? And you're at a job sometimes you don't like. But you don't want to get up and do anything about it and build your own reality. And if you quit that job, the woman tell you, said, look, you better go back and get that job. You know, that man pay you as if you cannot pay yourself. We have let, now here's again about the subconscious. See, the subconscious rules, and your conscious only submit to the subconscious mind that you can't see. So all of your actions is as a result of what's buried below. Most black folks, and I know this is going to be painful, but most black folk worship white man as God. Now I know this is going to hurt. But see, when you make statements like, you know you can't do nothing without the man. Even those who want to say, I want Sunday off. I want to go to church. But if you're working for a dumb man, and the man say you go to work on Sunday, you forget about that and go to work. And say, well, the man called me out. If it had not been for that God, I would have been there. Do you understand what I'm saying? Here it is, God made you one of the greatest. Everybody in the world, all of the people come from you. But you're walking around like you are in a stupor. You see, white people don't hate you. I want you to understand that. See, you think they hate you. They admire you. That's why they named their bogus continent Europe after the goddess Europes, your goddess. Because they walked into the grandeur of what you created in Africa and said, oh, these people. Well. Oh, Herodotus wrote about them, and they told him it was crazy. That's to do now, but not then. But once you know who you are, you will get up and you'll understand that we must be self-determined. And if we're not going to be self-determined now, the next few years we're going to be back in slavery again. Because we are acting like that. How many of these buildings downtown are owned by black folks? People started laughing at that, huh? And I bet you any big buildings in Atlanta was not built during the integration era. It was done when you weren't supposed to do it. Well, now we can't do nothing. That's why God sent Bush back to you. Because you need a mean master. We did not have any revokes on the plantation unless there were mean masters whipping you, beating you, cutting your feet off, poking your eyes out. And say, I gotta get out of here. You see, I gotta move. I gotta run away. But that's why God sent Bush. Because we have not been whipped enough. We need a whipping. If you're not going to buy these products and join Dudley, join Compro. By the way, let me tell you a little about John Compro. And I'm always sort of a little apprehensive about tooting our own horn. But these 108 plus offices in America is owned by black folks. And by the way, Compro tax is black solid. Black solid. You know what I'm saying? Now, it works like a franchise, but we know black folks don't have no money, they say. And we know that black folk make that excuse about not spending $25,000, $30,000 in buying a franchise. So we created a system where you can come in as an apprentice, serve in an office, and be working as a self-employed person and be mentored by the best minds we have, along with the other companies, and grow you into the ownership of your own business. And that's what we do. Last year on our expansion, we spent over $1 million expanding and helping black folks around the country in the business for themselves. Now, the reason we're doing this is because we are trying to build the black economy. Yes, sir. And we can't build the black economy just by me being rich or you being rich. We must be rich. Yeah. We must be rich. And we must have a commitment to do for self. Bring it, sir. Bring so it. As a result, we're able to empower people and expand because H&R Block, Jackson Hewitt, and all the other white companies that you support and give billions of dollars to, billions, don't put a dime back into your community. We spend literally tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars back in the black community. That's what we do. Now look, if it was just for me, you know, my wife wanted me to slow down anyway, you see, then I can live the rest of my life just on what has been created. Well. But we are spending capital, mental capital, financial capital, helping to empower you through the apprentice system. With the Dudley, Dudley products are sold in our stores, our offices. Malta products are sold in our office. Just like others merge together, we merge together. That's right. Because we are building the Black Alliance to save our lives. Yes, sir. You see, because we know what's happening out here. You need to understand we need your help. Now, if it was Donald Trump coming down and said, you can possibly be an apprentice and be on his show, that's right. Then you'll just say, take one of my hands, Donald, and I want to be apprenticized by you. Well, here it is, Compro tax and Malta and Dudley want to apprenticise you. You can't be successful in business unless you are linked in with somebody who's traveled the road already. That's right. And that's what we want you to do, is to link in. And we're going to help you because we love you that much. Yes, sir. It's the agape love, unconditional. Mm-hmm. You can go in business by yourself all you want to. I don't have time for individuals. Well, I have time for people who have the collective. Yes. Do you understand what self means? When you trace the etymological root of self and go into the antiquities of time and its origin of the word, you'll find that it means we, it means us, the community. Yeah. And we're around here trying to function on I-ism. It's the we-ism I'm talking about, the we-ism. And so I want all of you to pledge to commit to buying from yourself. That's right. All of you to pledge to commit to joining the alliance that we are building across this country to help empower your children yourselves. Because if you do not do that, God will not look at you favorably. Because he's given us everything we need. Why you think that God allowed a supposedly retarded man, branded, not retarded, he's a brilliant man, Joe Dudley, to come up and refuse to put his products in the stores, refuse to sell it for billions of dollars, because he wants to empower black folk. Yes, sir. The reason we spend money, and by the way, we, the officers of Compro tax, take no salary. We reinvest all of the money back into the empowerment of black folks in business. How do we make money? The same way we tell you how you can make money. And we make a lot of it. And you can do the same. There's no plan in this country like it. No plan in this country like it. We are breaking broken ground already on the freeway in Beaumont, Texas. We building an event center that's going to house over 1,000 people set down style as a banquet, and our home office will be there, and about 8,000 to 10,000 commercial lease spaces there as well. The largest structure other than a church built by black folks in that area. You see. And it is owned by the affiliates that got us there, because we share collectively together. Do you realize that the president of Compro is not me and not one of the other founders? The president is Ron Fontenot, came with us 12 years ago, that we gave an opportunity to and make over $350,000 a year in his own business, not we paying him. And we allowed him to become president, and we tutored him and taught him along the way as an apprentice. Yes, every board member is done that way, because we are trying to build a model of regardless of what happened to me or what happened to anyone else, that it can carry on in its infinite stage, yes, perpetually. You see, we got to have businesses that stay in perpetuity, because our lives depend on it, not to roll around in Cadillacs with gold rims to spin. Yeah. That's all right if you can afford that, but if you have not taken care of your community, you cannot afford to put that junk on the cars. Yeah. You see, or wear a lot of jewelry around your neck. You are just bragging in a plantation mentality. That's what you're doing. We must get rid of that. Yes, sir. I'm going to close here shortly, because, as I mentioned, we're not in the right place. But these columns, study your history. They are out of our country. All of the master builders built the columns. Chico Coeur does a very good job. He's from Atlanta here. Yeah. You ever heard of Chico Coeur? Very beautiful PowerPoint presentation to explain to you what this is about. Because these symbols have power. You must understand the power in the mind. You are more than just a flesh. Your physiology is just only a little teeny bit of you. What you really represent is God. Because God sent you from himself in the image of himself. Not in a physical sense, but in a spiritual sense. And your goal now, your goal is to do what God sent you here for. Because if you don't do that, you will not return back to God and sit on the right throne on his side. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. Let's do these questions. How about you all like that? How about that for Dr. Jackie Mayfield?